Hi, I'm Ralph Riva. I'm here in a wonderful, well, I guess it's a Cabernet vineyard by the leaves. It's the 16th of November, 2011, just after harvest. And I want to talk about post-harvest nutrition and its importance. This vineyard right here actually uses Pacific Natural fresh fish fertilizer, and it's absolutely a wonderful product for post-harvest applications. You can put it on with your drip system, goes right through the drip, no problem. The importance of it, though, is really what it's doing. It's only a 230 fertilizer, not very high in nitrogen at all. But what it does is incredible things. The real importance of it is the oil, the 10 to 15% oil that's in the fish that's produced by Great Pacific Bioproducts. And the Pacific Natural has enzyme package in it. When coupled with that fish oil, goes into the soil and has a magnificent result in growing massive numbers of microbiology and mainly bacteria to begin with, and then later fungi. It's important to put that product on post-harvest, especially when you still have leaves on the vine, so that some of that nitrogen can be taken up. But it isn't like putting on commercial fertilizer. It's a protein form of fertilizer, and consequently, only the nitrogen that the plant needs is taken up. The rest of the product basically is growing the microbes in the soil. And these microbes are growing in massive, multiple numbers as they begin to develop. When we have a little warm weather like we have right now, and as you can see, we have cover crop actually, or ground cover beginning to grow in the vineyard. And this is a good thing. And consequently, as we put this product on, it grows the microbes that's etching the minerals and feeding the cover crop as well as the feeder roots on this grapevine. It can be put on even when the leaves are off. Undoubtedly, the plant, when the leaves are off, the plant doesn't take up the nitrogen that many people want for springtime. But what it does do is grow the population of microbes. And I think of those microbes as an army. Let's build our army so it's ready to go to war in the springtime. And basically, the way I recommend using Pacific Natural fresh fish fertilizer is essentially putting on about 5 of the 10 gallons that we recommend annually at post-harvest. You get it on the ground, and even though the temperatures may be cool, you may even have rain and cold temperatures that slow things down. Every time you get a day just like this, essentially you see your ground cover grow. At that same moment, the microbiology is growing in the soil as well. And that growth in the soil allows the mineralization to continue to develop and be available when these roots in the springtime begin to activate. In the spring, the temperatures, when they get about 55 degrees, we know that root activity is going to begin at that time. And at that point in time, we have our army build up because we put on the post-application of Pacific Natural. And at that point, we come back in and put on 2 to 3 additional gallons to feed that army. Keep it alive. Keep it working for you. And it basically allows the vine to then really be able to activate all of the nutrients that's in around it in the soil. And to me, that's real important, because what we're really talking about in wine grapes is these. We're talking about getting the terroir into that wine and into that bottle later. So to do that, we really must be able to get all the benefits of all the rock mineral that's in the soil to be able to be taken into the vine as it needs it to produce those berries. The final application of Pacific Natural would be put on between bloom and closure. And at that very moment in time, that's when, after bloom, the development of the berry is occurring. And our main purpose, using Pacific Natural in this way, gets that mineral package in, bringing the brick levels up in the fruit, bringing the brick levels up in the leaves, and consequently bringing the terroir, the balance of the nutrient package in the soil, into the vine, later into the berry. And if we can get a balanced soil, we can then produce a balanced vine, which produces a balanced grape, and later will produce a balanced wine.
Ralph, just from the point of view of a grower who you're just talking to for the first time about the Pacific Natural material, and they already have an irrigation plan and also a spray plan, let's say, how do you advise them on whether or not the material during those different applications should be applied through drip or spray, depending if they have a spray program, but as you know, many of them do?
Well, basically, that's the good thing about Pacific Natural Fresh Fish Fertilizer. With its 10 to 15% oil base, it essentially will not volatilize off into the atmosphere. It will not leach. It'll go down into the aerobic zone, the top 7 inches, and basically tie up with the organic matter to be utilized by the microbes. So if you don't, for example, you don't have a drip irrigation, you can easily go out with an ATV and your herbicide applicator, and you can put on the 5 gallons per acre right on the vine row and lay it on top of the vine row. It could be in a dry farm block even. And what you do, that particular product can sit there for as much as maybe 45 days. It will not degrade. It doesn't go anywhere until you get rain. And when you get rain, it goes into the soil and begins to feed the microbes in the soil. So there's many ways that it can be used. It can be applied through the drip. It can be sprayed on. It could be sprayed on broadband over the entire surface, or you could concentrate it on the vine row. In this particular case, as I look at this, I know that these vines are being fed, drip irrigated down the row, but I know the roots are out into the middle. So a nice spray pattern, if you didn't want to use the drip, would work just fine.
Excellent.